Hi, I'm Susanna. Welcome back to Fatal Dates, my show about real connection in an unreal world. My date today is rock star and podcaster Jason Myles. I've met Jason before, or rather I've met him through a screen. I was on his show, This Is Revolution, and we were talking about online dating, and it seems he's having trouble there, so I'd like to know why. My look, I've gone quite boss bitch for Jason today. Don't know why, just felt like it, and I'm wearing my amazing shoes. Let's see how it goes. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I've been talking about this show. I was on a date last night talking about this show.
Oh, really? Okay, excellent.
Oh, yeah.
There's only, as we speak, only a couple of episodes of the show have been out. Have you been watching it?
I watched the clip that you put up. I'm more talking about you. I find you very fascinating. I find
You're absolutely free to talk about me, because I want to say this is a date, or at least it's a pseudo date, and it's not an interview as such. It's not just a one-way conversation. I think we'll start things off with me asking you some questions, but I really, ask away, go for it. Like I said, I'm just surprised, Jason. I'm surprised to hear that it hasn't been going well for you. You're a rock star. And a very handsome, charming man. So how can it be? Please tell me what's going on. Or actually, the first question I'd like to know is, what are you looking for?
What I was looking for has changed somewhat because of your appearance on the show a while back. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more.
You kind of called me out by not talking to me directly, but mentioning that people have these checklists. And I did have a checklist. I wanted someone that was my age, so in their 40s, probably married. I was looking for someone that had been married already, that definitely
probably
had
married.
kids.
Just hold on,
Or had been married. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Let me clarify. I'm not.
Because I was going to say that you're right there. We found what the issue is.
I'm trying to ruin someone's life. No, I was looking for someone that had done all the things, because at a certain point in your life, when you've done all the things, you're a little calmer, and I'm pretty calm right now. I toured all over. I don't like loud noises anymore, unless I'm making them.
Interesting. Okay, interesting.
I just want to be an old dude and chill at home. With someone with a relatively big butt, and watch horror movies, right? Like that's it. You don't have to. I don't want you to have to do anything domestic wise, because I have that covered. And I didn't want you to be a vegetarian.
You didn't want a servant. You did want someone with a relatively big butt.
Big butt.
You wanted someone that would fit in with your lovely life in Mexico, not in retirement. We could say in semi-retirement. Your calm, relaxed life. You wanted someone to fit right in. You weren't looking for to be making big changes. But in fact, it's interesting. The answer that you've just given me is all about how that person would fit into your life. It wasn't really what that person would be like. So how has that changed since I appeared on This Is Revolution and we talked about dating there? Tell me what happened then.
Well, first of all, the age parameters I gave myself was extremely limiting. So I had to open up those parameters a little bit and look at people a little younger, which, usually is a bit of a turnoff to me. It is a little different here. With women in their mid-30s.
Here being in Mexico.
I'm sorry, in Mexico where I live. I'm sorry.
And how is it different? Explain to me why it's different, women in their 30s in Mexico. What's different there?
I don't know how honest I should be.
Why not be totally honest?
Because I'm not trying to get canceled and you in trouble.
Just go for it. We can always tell Doug to cut it out later. Just go for it.
Usually women that are my age are, and also
what I'm hearing from you is it's still very driven by, you're very specifically here, you're talking about kind of parameters and stuff. You're not saying what I'm looking for is to be blown away by something extraterrestrial to my requirements that I never expected.
I always want to be surprised, right? But, you know, there's just really, 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 really young women here where I live, like teenagers, 20s, that are single. I'm definitely not talking to anyone that's my daughter's age. That's gross.
Okay. You don't want to be surprised by very young women, but yet you're holding something back from me, Jason. You said, did I want to hear the truth? And what you just told me now is a very something that no one would be ashamed of saying in a million years. You're responsible.
I do.
No way to very younger women. So what's the problem?
Okay. So I did go out with this one woman, and she lived about an hour south, and we met up on a dating app, and then she owns a business down there. And I was like, well, I was like, let's have a date. And we arranged a time for a date, and we were just going to meet at a coffee shop in Ensenada. And then she was like, you know what's really cool? There's a city called Valle de Guadalupe, and it's really cool. And they have these cool wineries. And I looked at the city, and I was like, oh, wow, that city is like an hour and a half from me. I was like, why don't I just get us a hotel there, and we'll stay there for like the weekend.
Nice.
It's like, I don't know shit about this woman. I have no expectations.
But you could have separate rooms. It doesn't necessarily mean, married for life. Carry on.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I didn't have any expectations. So we met first real quick. I went to her job and met her, again, a lot younger. There's a language barrier because her English is not very good. My Spanish is not very good, but we agreed upon this date. We drive to the place, and we ended up having like a really fun weekend, actually. I won't get into the particulars, but we had a fun weekend.
Okay, again,
it was pretty cool.
What are you holding? There's still something you're not saying to me here. You don't have to say it by any means, but what I'm hearing from this is, respectfully, you went out with someone, you permitted yourself to go out, to extend the age barriers that you said before, to go out with someone younger. It was a little bit further away, so you booked a hotel room. Okay, so what happened there? That sounds like a lovely story. You had a special weekend.
It was a really cool weekend.
And then?
One of those no expectations, didn't know what was going to happen. The place was really badass. Like if we were on our real fatal date, I would take you to that place.
Really? Okay.
Oh, I would take you to that place.
Okay. Well, I'm curious why. In what way really bad? In a really bad way bad?
I'll tell you off air.
That's very. I'm sorry. That's very. That's very, very important to connect the feminine jouissance as something that has to do with women, but it doesn't only has to do with women. We say his phallus, but phallus has also the desire, but it is very different with.
So you met a lovely woman, you had a wonderful weekend with her, and now you're going out with her and it's all going great.
No, it actually didn't.
Okay, so what happened next? Why not? What was happening? What happened next?
What did we do after that?
What did you do after that? I want to know what. Well, no, sorry. You were keen to extend the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't?
I think I pissed her off.
Okay. Intentionally? Or
no.
By accident?
No, yeah. I wasn't trying to piss her off. I commented about how much she paid for rent, because I was kind of blown away about how much she paid, how inexpensive it was, and then kind of how inexpensive our date was. And it wasn't inexpensive to her. And
I
think she took that the wrong way, as like American arrogance, gringo arrogance.
Okay.
Yeah,
and after that, she didn't want to see you. And is this kind of how it is? You meet people online.
In a serious dating capacity, she did not want to see me.
Okay. What I'm interested in is, because when I started thinking about dating apps, when I started, reading my Baudrillard, what I thought is it's a whole separate, different world. There was a kind of dating was lovely in the past and people had a genuine connection. And I certainly grew up thinking, reading a lot of stuff, I'm going to meet my soulmate one day. It's all going to be fantastic. Mm-hmm. And then, oh no, it's morphed into something else. And I wonder if you think it's that way, that it used to be when we were younger something, and now it's become something else. And I should say that actually, I now don't think that. I now think what's happening now is just the naked, bare bones of what was always there. But I wonder from you, was it different? Tell me a little bit about how it was in the past and how it is now for you.
I was with a woman I did music with, for 7 years, and we met very randomly. I was on tour. I was tour managing a band at the time, and she was working in a Las Vegas casino nightclub. And I met her in the hall. We talked for like 5 minutes. I was kind of blown away by what she had to say as far as her musician history, and she was stunning. She's not dead. And I told her, I was like, come with me to San Francisco and we'll hold hands all over the world and play music. And she did.
Wow. This is based on a 5 minute
yes.
dancing encounter in a hallway. Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. For 7 years we did. And we did crazy shit and lived a crazy life and played weird, crazy music until she, had a bit of a breakdown. But there's something about meeting people organically and saying, fuck it. Because I didn't have a checklist. I met someone and they blew me away by what they had to say. Mm-hmm. And it made them just more attractive. And the more I hung out with this person. Mm-hmm.
And you weren't sure if they were looking, neither you nor they had said, I am looking for love. Will you provide it to me now if I press this button? And it wasn't clear that she wasn't going to have, and there was an element of risk there. Is she looking for a relationship? Would it mean to have a relationship? All those sorts of things. And to a certain extent, that's the greatness of it, isn't it, when you first start off with someone? Of course, it's not to say you can't have that when you meet them on a dating site. But let's be frank, there's much less of, are they interested in me? They're interested in you. They've swiped on you. All that isn't there. And I just want to ask you, as a man, okay, this is a weird question. And it sounds like a terrible sexist question. And one that you can't answer honestly, I'm sure, but I want to ask it anyway. Do you think less of women that you meet on dating sites than you would a woman that you meet in the real world? And I say that because, do you feel that the woman has already given up a lot of her power by even appearing on the dating site? Okay, a terrible, freaky question that I just asked you.
No,
okay.
I disagree wholeheartedly, because there's women that just collect likes, that collect matches. So I could be just another trophy in a case of matches. So no, I don't think. I think they still have all the power in the situation. Me personally, yeah. Really. So it's always you chasing women that you meet online and then being, will they, won't they, oh, they won't, oh, I'm on to the next one in that way. Really. Oh, yeah.
And why is that?
It's kind of the nature of relationships that, for me, I can't speak for anyone else.
Okay, that's interesting. So that was in the past, and then that didn't work out. Maybe there were other relationships. And then now in Mexico, looking for people, not necessarily being embedded in the culture, not having lots of friends there, not having an organic social life in many ways, relying on the apps. And for how many years have you been doing that?
I've only been here for a year. So it's been about I did it for a few months when I came down here, and then I stopped. I ended up reconnecting with someone that I knew from where I'm from in the Bay Area, and we were seeing each other for a while. And that didn't work. And so I got back on the apps, and maybe right when we had booked the show, I canceled all the apps.
Because you were coming on my show?
No, because I fucking hate them.
You can shine your shoes and wear a suit. You can comb your hair and look quite cute. You can hide your face behind a smile. One thing you can't hide is when you cripple inside. You can wear a mask and paint your face. You can call yourself the human race. You can wear a collar and a tie. One thing you can't hide is when you cripple inside.
Before dating apps, these dates were interviews. I don't think we understood they were interviews. Now they feel like interviews. You know, even responding to someone that has swiped on you. And I'm hearing this from women as well. There's not a response back because people in general just kind of collect these things. I think it's some sort of way to validate their own self-worth.
Yes,
and
it's like getting a like on Twitter for your tweet or something like that.
But it's like a little deeper. Like, it's like, this person doesn't just like what I said, they want to fuck me too.
It is people collecting trophies. But what I also think is that increasingly people don't want to meet up in the real world. What they want is a curated image of themselves. You know, they would prefer to, you know, masturbate, have no sex, but be considered a god or goddess by other people in a virtual space, rather than have to actually go out into the real world and not just be disappointed by the person that they're meeting, but to disappoint in turn themselves. In the past, before we had phones, before we had cameras, before we had any way to record ourselves, and you know, it's so relatively recent that was, in a way, to some degree, sometimes we might use other people as mirrors. We would look into the eyes of the person who loved us, and you know, what we might have called love, in fact, in many ways, sometimes is just the reflection of the glory of our power back in the eyes of the person who is there. And to some extent, we don't need that anymore. We don't need somebody else's eyes to tell us how beautiful we look or anything like that. I've got my camera there in front of me. I could spend a long time. I could spend all day if I wanted to doing the stuff, trying on the outfits. I can get it for myself. And then what I can also do in a cut price way is then put it on my Instagram feed. Actually meeting someone in the hotel foyer by chance, bumping into them, having a wild time with them, it can really rip up your life. I mean, I don't know what your story is. I only know what my stories are. But really giving your whole body and soul over to somebody else, when that other person is never going to be who you think they are, and you're never going to be who they think you are. And unless you can work on that together, something tough is going to happen between you, and it can rip you apart for years and years, if not forever, can't it? So given that, in many ways, it's a nice and safer option never to truly interact with people, never to actually have sex with people, or just to have sex a bit of a weekend and then go back, have the memories, and instead have this larger and more diffuse audience. Would that be satisfying to you?
No, not at this point in my life. There was a point in my life that would have been A-okay. Now I'm kind of like, I am looking for a partner. I'm looking for someone that has their own life as well, that, you know, maybe I can be a part of. And that is hard to find on a dating app, because if you go out with someone and it's cool, people can be like, well, there might be something even better. If this was good, there might be something even better, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What Baudrillard says is, he says everything has become undecidable, because we have too much information, because we have too much data, because there's too many people, there's too much of a great selection, because it's not like there's one girl my age in the village and everybody else is married and has no teeth, because the whole world is available. Because not there's anything wrong in not having teeth,
it sounds like you're here.
And also because to a micro level, I can test out somebody, I can have sex with them. There's no taboos on that anymore. I just like, he says he's not just talking about sex and relationships here. He's talking about everything. He says everything is undecidable for us. Do you feel everything's undecidable? Do you think that you could really decide about somebody? Do you think you could really meet somebody and say, yes?
I can, because I'm retarded. And the people on the people on my show have to like yell at me about some of the things that I do because I'm stupid, Susie. And I mean, I told you, I've literally met a woman in Vegas and spent 7 years like making crazy music with them. And that almost destroyed me when she took off.
Yes. Part of this show that I'm doing here, part of one of the drivers for me doing it is I'm just suspicious about love in general now. You know, they say that a cynic is nothing else than a disappointed romantic. I'm quite down on love. I think that it's a bit of an invention, and I think that it can be. You know, when we were talking about it's safer to do it on a dating app, you know, it's not necessarily clear to me that it's wrong to do it in a more safe way or to do it in a more pragmatic way. The issue I have about dating apps is that they don't say, we were saying this when we were on the Sublation Halloween live stream. Yeah. Yes, that what they don't say is, I was saying to you then that it might be good to have an app. I can't remember what I said. It was you'lldo.com. Yes, exactly. That we're still, the kind of carrot of love is still held out on those dating apps. They don't declare themselves as, look, I'm lonely. I'm not looking for something perfect. I'm looking for someone to share my life with who doesn't smell. And would I like that dating app? No, you know, I wouldn't like that dating app.
I would love that dating app. I would love that dating app.
You say that, but you wouldn't. Would you? Would you love that?
Yes.
Okay, what would that dating app be? What would it say?
It would just be someone like, look, you got a job and you got your own shit. You're not going to be mooching off me. Okay, cool. You want to come down to Mexico and fucking chill out every so often, and you know, we can do the thing and just be old people and chill. Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. You would love that.
Okay, but that's interesting. Okay, I asked you what you want. That's what you want. You don't want someone in your life. I
do.
I just that.
Really? You think that? No, I do.
I do. I think that because you just said to me, you want someone who has their own life and will come to Mexico every so often and chill with you. Yeah. That's what you want. That's
Unless
what you want.
Unless they want to move down. Look, if somebody was like a right person, they were like, hey, you're the dude for me, and me and this person like get along and shit. We're cool, and they're like, I want to move to Mexico. I'd be down for that.
Okay, and what if they said, and I'd like you to move to London, for example? The person got to fit in with your life. You've got it set up for yourself. You claim all this stuff, but what you want?
Did you see the view? Did you see the view?
Oh, the view.
Did you see the view? I can't
love
leave
the view. Okay.
They say London, because here's the thing. I don't want to have to be dependent on someone else.
Okay, these are just excuses, Jason.
They're not excuses.
Okay.
If I move to London, that changes a lot of the relationship, because now I'm somewhere where it's 3 times as expensive than where I live now.
Then, what about move to, I don't know, Bali?
Bali? That sounds nice. Can I afford to live there?
Yes, I think so. You could do podcasts from Bali.
I totally could, but I don't know if the music I play would go over in Bali.
You'd learn a bit of gamelan. Ding. It's nice there.
Ultimately, depends on the person and my situation.
Shadow puppetry instead of But you saying that
shadow puppetry.
Yeah, that would be good. You would add to your repertoire. You could get the long nails and do all that stuff. No, that's I think maybe what the women do. I think lots of very nice ladies there. But we're being distracted here because I think we were getting somewhere, and I think now you don't like what I was saying because it was touching on the truth about this.
An absolute fetish, a totally virtualized and mediated world from which the human has truly disappeared, and, as with all games, a form of ambivalence, seduction, undecidability, and reversibility. Always already undoing integral reality's reliance on equivalence, production, computerization, and models. Models of communication foreclosed on symbolic exchange by, on the one hand, simulating the genuine contact found in social relations, and, on the other hand, dissimulating the inherent separation of senders and receivers, for no one can reach beyond itself, so as actually to ensure non-communication and excommunication.
Maybe this is some form of purgatory.
Thank you. Sorry for forcing me to come inside. So we were talking, I was distracted. I was saying that I felt that you're in a sort of monk mode yourself. You're in a healing monk mode with a bit of benefits. Not full monk. You haven't gone full monk, but technology allows you to go partial monk because you can dip in and out. You can have a simulacra of a relationship every so often if you need to, because you can just dial one in. And for the rest of it, you're just healing and living things the way you want them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very honest. Yeah.
Okay, it's very honest of me about you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I accept that. I accept that critique.
Okay, so in which case, then there are no disappointments in your dating life. You're getting what you want.
No, I mean, there's definitely. I'm not getting what I want out of it. I think I want too much, maybe. Right. You know, I'd want to find quote unquote love. Not just physical interactions every so often, so I don't feel like an incel. No, I'd like to find a relationship. I mean, someone could definitely get me out of this apartment if it was the right situation, but I really am enjoying living in Mexico. So.
But nevertheless, we could say it is quite capitalistic. It is quite... I want it so it's going to work for me. I want it so that it's going to help me. I want it quite pragmatically. I want it in this shape or not that shape. It's not... Anyway, I also wondered, so you're on This Is Revolution, and before that you were a rock star. You have toured the world. To a certain extent, you know, you can get support, approval, praise from a multitude of sources. It doesn't just have to be about online dating for you. You can get energy off people, and you can get a sense of satisfaction and people liking what you do. From you have other means to get your, we could call it supply. That's an unfair way of putting it. And I wonder if you get those things, and I wonder again, because you can get them in the same way. Before, you would have to have, you know, been live touring Wembley Stadium every few years. Whereas now,
I definitely wasn't at Wembley. You know, yeah.
Okay. 2 or 3 times.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I agree.
And is that? I mean, does that can that replace the satisfaction of relationships to you? Having an online audience? No.
No, I love I
Gene
love
and Pascal and the gang.
You know what's fun is hanging out with Gene and Kuba in real life, hanging out with Ben Burgess in real life. Like, these are my real life friends, especially Ben Burgess. There's a private side of me, because I am so public, that I would like to share with an intimate partner. The more monkey side, I guess. The boring old man side that I would like to share with someone, you know.
The monkey side is the boring old man, a boring old monkey.
The boring old monkey side, yeah, that just wants to watch weird movies, and to have someone to like watch horror movies on the couch with no pants on would be awesome.
The main thing, when I asked you what
I
you
would love
want,
that.
I think
I would love that.
I
would love that.
I would watch horror movies with. Why? Because they get scared and hug you. Okay, that's so interesting.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
we'll be hugged up. We'll definitely be hugged up. Susie, you come down to Mexico, we will be hugged up on the couch.
That sounds nice.
How often do you actually think about the things you say? Like what you're literally saying? I mean, have you ever thought about how many of the things you say are figures of speech, things that aren't literally true? Those figures of speech have other meanings, and most of the time they mean stuff that we'd rather not put in literal terms. Like, we all know what we're not saying when we say that someone has a nice personality, or if a lady announces that she's gonna go powder her nose. And of course there's Netflix and chill, which it turns out has very little to do with, like, actually watching Netflix.
So, you know, it's a date, like I said at the beginning. We've talked about you. You got any questions for me?
Yeah. When are you going to come to Mexico so we can be hugged up on the couch?
That's such a sweet, kind offer. But again, I feel like you're making this offer to me because my suspicion is that you don't want a relationship at this time. My suspicion. So I'm in London. It's not possible for me. To come to Mexico.
Planes work. I mean.
Yeah, Jason. I'm also married, and so there's all kind of stuff.
How close are y'all? Really?
I know that this has been a theme here, but
Susie,
there's many different ways to be married. But anyway, we'll glide over that. We will glide over that.
In my head, your husband's sitting there like.
No, have you seen? There's a fantastic David Mamet film called House of Games. Have you seen it?
House of Games. That sounds familiar. From the 90s?
Yeah, it's his first movie. It's absolutely fantastic. It's about con men and a woman who's a psychiatrist. And
yes.
She can game them, but it seems that they can game her. Do you remember it? It's such a fantastic film. And there's a phrase in it. It's not going to reflect well on me at all. But there's a phrase in it that has rung in my head for a long time, where at one point the con man is talking about the psychiatrist behind her back, and she's overhearing, and she can hear what he says, and he says, "The Broad's an addict." And I don't want to spoil the movie for you or anybody else who hasn't. So I can't tell you the full context.
No, spoil it. It came out in the 90s. If you haven't seen it now, fuck it. You spoil it.
No, you've got to see it. It's an absolutely amazing film. Yeah,
I will. You can't still. I want to know now, Susie.
I'll talk about this in a moment. But I want to just say to you, I have learned so much about what I feel I know about relationship dynamics, about dynamics between what used to be called men and what used to be called women from that film. And also the other film that I love and has taught me so much is Vertigo. I'll talk about, and I'm not going to bore on with my cultural references, but what I think is, and again, I like being the host of this show because I can ask people personal questions and I don't really maybe want to answer them myself.
Keep them a little scared.
Oh, yeah. Mike, how did you know she was gonna go for it?
Go for it. Hey, the broad's an addict.
Oh.
I leave some stuff. I leave 40, 50 bucks up on the desk. Now, the broad steals my pocket knife.
No.
The broad, my hand of God. She boosts my lucky pocket knife.
Can you beat that?
The bitch is a booster.
The bitch is a born thief, man.
So you had her made from the jump?
I'm telling you, a ton of fucking bricks.
That's right. Took her money and screwed her too.
A small price to pay.
But I would say to you that I grew up wanting a lot of love, for whatever reasons, feeling that I needed to get a lot of love. And I therefore went out in the world with a lot of rose-tinted spectacles on, prepared to ignore a lot of stuff and prepared to put up with a very little stuff in order to get this drug that I wanted, that was going to resolve so much for me. And that's not a good way of approaching relationships, I don't think. And I think the idea of a relationship as salvation, of a relationship where it's going to be about you getting healed, fixed, you having a lot of problems, you needing things, and it's going to be this relationship that does it. I think that is fatal. If we're going to talk about things that are fatal in a different context to the fatal dates of the Baudrillard idea of being fatal. And I think it's taken me a very long time indeed to understand that history and to come to the end of that. Now, for you see, what I'm hearing from you is you're settled. You're not looking for someone to heal you. Are you looking for someone to heal you?
No.
See, I don't think that's what the function is. And I don't think that's what love is. And I've had to do a lot to begin with when I was thinking about these things and going on this journey. A lot of my analysis was a kind of external blame, perhaps, on some of the people that I've been involved in, but that's not fair at all in the end. It doesn't matter about the people that I was involved in. It matters about me. And what I've come to understand about all of that is what I wanted was very selfish and capitalistic. I wanted someone to fit into my life, to do something for me. I wanted someone to come in there and do some fixing. It's totally egocentric. It's because it's a childish look for it. And I am not interested in relationships as healing factors. I'm interested in relationships as ways to have fun that take you outside our so-called real world, that allow you to connect with someone in a way that isn't public. And that is just a private space that isn't a spelt out space of you do this and I do that, whatever. I don't know how that really translates into working out who does the washing up in the end. But I think a lot of people, I think a lot of us carry this idea because we're just told it. And because also when you do feel a connection with somebody and it's so right in that moment, and it's just the most wonderful drug, isn't it? What can beat that?
Yeah.
But the understanding that it's in many ways just a physical reaction of your body, plus whatever emotional baggage that you've brought with, and the fantasy that's in your head that you can then tell the story of to yourself, and that weekend, that wonderful thing. Why can't I have more of it? Why can't I have more of it? It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
But that wears off though, Susie. But that wears off, right? That whole wonderful feeling,
yes,
you're going to fix me, wears off, and you need something real. Even in my 7-year relationship that I had with this woman that I did music with, and I think it was because we had the musical connection. Mm-hmm. And touring at that level is kind of like combat. It's just so difficult. And we were playing like 100, 150 shows a year. So we're gone 6 to 9 months out of the year. We're gone somewhere. And we had fan breakdowns. We got stuck in the UK for like 3 months. Like everything bad that can happen would always happen. And I remember one night we were used to rent cars. We would have all our gear in a car, and she was a tiny Asian woman, and I'm a regular sized black guy cramped up in this car trying to go to sleep. And we were in a Walmart parking lot because that's where you can go to sleep when you're touring. And I remember she looked over at me, and this is like years into the relationship. She goes, "Anywhere you are is home."
Aww.
And that's kind of how we were homeless for a while, and that's kind of how we were. And that was the first time in my life, and this was in my 30s, and I had been married for 10 years, and I had children. I was kind of a shitty husband because there were all these requirements that I had on what I thought family was supposed to look like. And with this relationship, I just really let things go and just be. And we didn't have to be all in each other's faces all the time. She could have her own life. She could be the star of the show, which she was. She was the front person of the group and literally the focal point of a lot of media attention.
Can I just say, how good of you to let her be the star of the show? That was very big of you. Congratulations. Okay.
I hope it didn't come off like I let her be the star. No, she is the star
of you. So I hear that you really loved her, and you and her had.
Man.
Okay, and I'm really sorry that it didn't work out.
Oh, don't be.
I'm so sorry that
I wouldn't be doing this if it did. So it's
okay.
I saw for that period of time, like, oh, maybe this is. You don't have to have the butterflies every fucking day for 7 years. But for 7 years every day, I was actually very happy to wake up, next to that woman. We weren't, she really, sadly, she had a bit of a breakdown. Like we weren't fighting. We were planning what I had hoped was our last big tour in Southeast Asia. We were getting ready to release a record that we were both really, really excited about. And I came home to an empty house or an empty loft. And I don't know. I don't think she does music anymore. We haven't talked in years. I don't know much, but it was like that showed me but I don't think love is bullshit. Even though I got kind of burnt in the end, I may not have that relationship again, right? But I can find something, hopefully, that'll be right for me at this point in my life. At that point in my life, that self-destructive point in my life where I just wanted to do stupid shit. You know, I don't drink or do drugs, but I make horrible decisions. And that was the greatest horrible decision I ever made. And I'm looking for a more mature decision to make at this point in my life. And I hope it's out there.
I'm sure that it's out there. I'm sure that it's out there. I mean, you speak so well and so attractively about it. You know, it seems to me you are open to it. It will be there. I just feel it, even though, you know, all those times where I have just felt things and it's not always the best way to be saying, I just feel it, I just sense it, but I do. I feel that it will. I feel it definitely will. I'm very affected by the story that you just told me there. I feel it is very rare for me to hear a really passionate love story told to me about that. And I feel sad that it didn't work out. And I'm just thinking about it. I'm just wondering about myself. I'm wondering, you know, my whole show here, intellectualizing all these things, all these relationships. What is that really about? Is that trying to sort of once more have the upper hand by theorizing about things, by talking about, I don't know, hyper real love, all those sorts of things?
Of course we are. Of course we are. You know what the scariest shit in the world is? Trust. That's the scariest shit in the world. To say
it is the scary.
That's why her and I had something that I think was even more serious than my 10-year marriage and 3 kids. Because 10 years and 3 kids, we didn't trust each other. We'd never trusted each other.
What does that actually mean? I don't want you to talk to personally.
I didn't trust that woman with my heart because I knew.
What does it mean? What does it mean to
like
trust
just kind of being free to truly believe that, okay, well, they're not going to try to hurt me. There's no walls up anymore. I'm not protecting myself anymore. You know, I'm going to be vulnerable.
That's the core of it, isn't it? That's what it's about. It's about finding somebody, even that just in a kind of cosmic and honor-bound way, not because of stuff you're presenting to them, has your back. And you know that even that it doesn't matter what you do, you have enough eye-to-eye understanding about each other that you're there for each other. Yeah, it is. Whereas, but then on the other hand, you didn't have kids with this woman that we're talking about that you had.
No, we didn't. This is where it's going to get really sad. So she didn't want to have kids when we met. She was like, I'm not ruining, I'm going to fit into these jeans. And our careers are getting better. We're getting more press. She's on the cover of stuff. This is cool, right? And she hangs out with me and my kids. And she sees how we all are. And she's the stepmom. And now she kind of on the under wants kids. And I didn't want kids. I was like, my dad had kids after my mom. And I always felt like he liked those kids. Like I was the accident. And those were the good ones. And I would never want my kids to feel like the accident. And because you and I are so close, I know that whatever child we would have such a different upbringing than these, that I think that they would be missing out on because, we didn't get to see each other that much. And that's a whole other story. And so I was real protective of that. And then by the time I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Maybe we should stop being starry-eyed dreamers about this music shit. We'll do one last fun tour, and then we'll just be regular people. Never got a chance to have that conversation. That's in the back of my mind. That's what I wanted. I wanted to just be, let's be regular people. Let's have a family and do the thing. And it was too late. It was too late.
Wow. Okay, that is sad. That is sad. That's epic. That is sad. I'm sorry that it was like that. Wow. Okay.
So yeah. So I that's another reason why I'm like, I'd like to find someone that has children already. That doesn't want anymore.
Okay, and maybe that's why you got the Pee Wee Herman instead of this story on your date.
Oh yeah.
But you see, what I sort of think is that you need to know this kind of stuff about somebody before you can even begin to think of them as a romantic potential. You see what I mean? You can't split off, and you know. And our screen-based world, it's like body and soul. It's like, just forget about that stuff. Just present. You know, you need to know all this stuff about somebody, and then. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. I was going to say about kids that often, if you had kids, your relationship would have completely changed. Would you still have had that sense of trust, of that sense that you say? I mean, do you feel that before? I mean, I'm getting so personal here, and you probably don't want to talk about this.
Go for it.
But I was going to say, with the woman that you had kids with, did you have a sense of trust with her before you had kids? Did something change in having kids and having to become very regular, living for other people, very ordered, you know, the structure that kids necessarily bring?
We were 20 when we met, and we got married at 21. We got married on August 22nd of 1998, and our daughter was born August 25th of 1998.
Okay.
We were not ready to be partners or parents.
Okay.
And, you know, as her friends were doing young 20-year-old things, you know, traveling, and look, we met all these hot dudes in Greece, you know, she was like, I want to do that. And she's sitting here with a kid. And even though we were homeowners and I was making significant money at that time, it just wasn't enough, because we didn't have a foundation. We didn't know who we were at 21, and we thought we could fix ourselves and our relationship by continuing to have children. So I have these three beautiful beige kids with her that are 24, 19, and 16 now.
And is it strange, and getting whole other topics now, I was going to say, and is it strange to see them dating at the same time as you're dating?
You know, it was strange. So my daughter is 24. She's the oldest, and she has a boyfriend who I love her boyfriend. He's about as close as a son to me as possible. I'm getting misty eyed talking about this kid. And, they moved into their first apartment the same age her mother and I were. And I was like, you know, your mom and I were this age when we had you. And she just kind of looked at me and scoffed, like, motherfucker, I ain't having no kid. You know, the three are really close. And I have another child in a post relationship that's 4. And my daughter is extremely close with her 4-year-old brother. She loves him to death. And even though I don't get to see him as much as I'd like to, she'll go see him on her own. So I love my kids and the dynamic between them, and watching them date, I think is cool. I love watching them do. I've never been the protective dad. You know, my daughter met her boyfriend at school. And again, I trust him so much with her. If they ever broke up, I would be sad, but you know, it's life. But I enjoy watching my kids grow up. I do enjoy it. I don't get overprotective, especially of my daughter. I'm not one of those like, oh, you're dating my kid. No. So watching her with a great young man is pretty fucking rad.
All best wishes to your daughter and her great young man. I think that might be the end of our date now, Jason. We've been talking for quite a while. We've got quite deeply into it. Thank you for being so honest. Thank you for sharing those painful stories. And I want to know how it goes. Basically, I'm now rooting for you in Mexico, throwing away the apps. Not necessarily throwing away the apps. And I also think it's fine not to date people. I think it's fine to just have time to yourself and to process and you know, why not? Thank you for coming on Fatal Dates.